Hi everyone, Oz here from the Glowing Brakes, and we are at Brands Hatch for the Masters Historic with Jake and Keith from the podcast, as many of you guys might know. Jake, do you want to explain the event today?
Yeah, it's just really good to be back at Brands. Obviously, we haven't been able to be here for a while, but we've got limited numbers at the track today. Obviously, we're all having to distance, so it's been really cool. We have got some historic F1 cars from the 70s and 80s going to be here. Can't wait to see them. And also some historic sports cars that you might get to hear in a minute. We're just under SC here. First bit of racing of the year, but yeah, it's great to be back. And in fact, you may even get to see some of the cars coming around at the moment. Some absolutely lovely motors, some some Daytona coupes, and some Elans, some E-types. It's awesome. So, we had a good morning walking around the track. There's been some good series. We just had some historic minis. All the big stuff's coming now. Next, we got the F1 display that we are really excited for. So I thought we'd just talk you through some of the cars that are coming up in this display. I think the one we were both most excited about is the Leighton House CG901. That's obviously the car famously Newey design. It's like that first glimpse of Newey we got where Ivan Capelli nearly won the 1990 French Grand Prix. Obviously 1990, so I'm very excited about it, but that's a really cool car. I've also got the Benetton B190. That won 2 races with Nelson Piquet at the end of the 1990 season. Funny races at the end. You obviously had Suzuka where Prost and Senna collided, and then kind of Piquet came along to take the win. There was also a rumour that, or it's true, that he was getting paid per point, and suddenly that's why he was actually incredible that season. So those are 2 awesome cars. 2 others.
Yep. We've got the Brabham BT59, which was raced by David Brabham. It only raced for 2 years, 1990, and in 91 it only did 2 races. And that was Martin Brundle and Mark Blundell, so an all-British lineup. And there's the rather unfortunate story of the Arrows A11, which has got 1 line in the programme saying an Arrows A11 will be on track 2. Which is a bit of a shame. It actually ran for 3 years. The 3rd year it changed from a Ford engine to a Porsche, but it was far too big, so they had to redesign it. And after 2 terrible races, they just replaced it. So a little bit of heritage. It was the last Arrows before they got rebranded as Footwork and then went back to Arrows. But quite an interesting one to see on track.
Yeah, I'm also excited about, they've got a couple of other extras. The Honda RA1082 prototype. I'd never heard of it, but apparently it was for testing new F1 systems. And one that's got a line in here as well, a mid-1970s McLaren M23 as raced by James Hunt. I thought that might have got a slightly better section in his book, because that's pretty cool. And a Lola F5000 car as well, but I think it's at Leighton House, so I'm looking forward to seeing.
And one day maybe we'll see the Lola F1 car on a track.
Lola MasterCard, it's going to happen. We're going to make it happen.
One day.
Awesome. Well, we'll get some shots on track.
Few moments later.
Yeah, that was awesome. We've just seen the F1 display. Now got the historic masters going on, the sports cars, which is really cool. There was one big omission though, wasn't there?
A huge omission. Newey's baby, the Leighton House, was not there.
I'm gutted. I've always wanted to see that in the flesh. It was a real shame. I've got to say it was still an amazing display though. And after all the ragging we gave the arrows, the driver of that was giving it some. I mean, that was properly going for it.
He was on the power way quicker than anyone else. I think he was trying to make up. I think he must have heard us.
It was funny because, you know, it's just a display and obviously not going full rag, but actually it was really giving it some. It was amazing to see the McLaren M23 and the other car was Brabham. Brabham was beautiful.
And the F5000 sounded amazing.
Yeah, that Lola F5000, I wasn't really thinking much of it, but again, amazing noise. And the Benetton, that's a race-winning Formula 1 car, so that was really cool to see. So we've just had a look through the order for the Masters Historic Race that's going on in a bit, and some of the cars stuck out, so we were just going to jump in. I'll start with the one at the top. So we've got a Lotus 91.5 there, which is pretty exciting. That's from the 1982 season. You had our Nigel Mansell in one of his first seasons, and Elio De Angelis. Obviously 82 was a crazy season where kind of no one wanted to win it. The Monaco Grand Prix that year sort of summed up what that year was. It kind of, no one seemed to want to win it. Obviously Rosberg did in the end with only one win, and that's the only time that's happened. This Lotus actually did win a race with Elio De Angelis. It was the only car that was made of Kevlar and carbon fibre, bar the MP4-1, which we'll come on to in a bit. Came 5th in the championship. It's a pretty cool car, obviously one of Nigel's first. Spoilerless front wing, I'm really looking forward to seeing that. Also got the M23.
Yeah, we've got the M23 McLaren, which ran for nearly 6 years. Championship winning car in 74 with Emerson Fittipaldi. Repeated the process in 76 with James Hunt. But what we're looking at is the 77, which is run by Hunt. Unfortunately, no race win. But, interesting bit of tidbit, the first ever F1 car driven by Gilles Villeneuve.
That's interesting, I didn't know that. So that would have been one of his really early drives.
It was his one race that season.
Wow, so it's a historic car, maybe not from its most historic season, but that'd be really cool. Sticking with McLaren, kind of tied to the Lotus, you've got the MP4-1, so that's from the 1982 season as well. Now, funny enough, you've got an amazing partnership there. You've got Watson and Lauda. You had Watson's win at Long Beach, where he came from 22nd on the grid and won. They both won 2 races each, so that was more than obviously Rosberg that won, but they were quite inconsistent. There were a lot of retirements. They came 2nd that year. That car was pretty close to winning in 82, very competitive. It's in an iconic Marlboro livery. I am looking forward to seeing that. I mean, that's a real bit of history there.
No doubt. And another one, the Ensign N180B from 1981. Ensign, bit of a checkered history, only 99 race entries. This one was driven by Mark Zura, Swiss. It actually had the best result they ever had, which was a 4th and fastest lap, and is also known for being Alicio Salazar drove it, and he was the only Chilean ever in F1.
Wow, I don't know much about this, to be honest. Again, like kind of 70s, my kind of knowledge is a bit checkered anyway.
Well, unfortunately, at the end of the season after this, they were no more.
So this is kind of one of their last cars, then. It'd be cool, and obviously it's called Johnny Herbert's driving that.
Johnny is driving it, so he's not pratfalling for Sky Sports.
That's really cool, and I suppose the last one I want to point out, I mean, there's a great list here. You've got some Tyrrells. In fact, I'll point out the Tyrrell P34. This is actually a remade car, so it's not one of the original P34s. Most of them are in museums now. There's one other, and it's not here today. The owner of the car really wanted a P34, so I actually got the designs from Tyrrell. It's built with the Tyrrell family, and one of the original designers. So it's going to be really cool to see that. Obviously, that's the 6-wheel monstrosity that they came up with. Short front wings that season. The front tyres would stick outside. I think it's 1.5 meters they had on the front wing. So Tyrrell had the idea of having the 2 smaller front wheels on each axle, on each side, sorry, that fit within the front wing. It's a really revolutionary car. Never quite did it. Did have a race win, I believe, but it's still a really cool bit of history. This is a rebuilt car, but I still can't wait to see it. And I suppose the last one is a bit of a sad one, really. There's the Shadow DNA. That's from the 77 season with Tom Price, who had so much potential. Obviously, that's quite a tragic one, but Shadow cars are awesome. It'll be good to see that. I don't think they'll have the Durex sponsorship on this one. But yeah, let's hope these all turn up. It's going to be pretty cool.
Speaking of Durex, is there anything more redundant than having a condom machine in the toilets at a Grand Prix?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what they were thinking there. It's been a good weekend, or good day. I really enjoyed seeing the F1 demo. These historic sports cars are amazing as well, and kind of getting to see this track, you know, up all into the woodlands, down to the far end. Obviously we've got a lot of footage that you'll see, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to these F1 cars as well. I hope they all get around. safely and give us a good race.
Should be a fantastic weekend.
Thanks a lot.
So Jake, how tall are you?
I'm not that tall, I'm 6'2".
6'2". This thing is about 3 foot off the ground.
I'm trying to say, if I took the front seats out, I could probably do it. My feet would stick up.
Actually, just like sit down next to it with your legs out in front. I just want to sit.
That's not happening, is it?
If you took the fuel tank out and the steering column and the steering arms,
Yeah, you might have it. Okay. It's beautiful though, lovely. I don't know what. I actually don't know anything about it. I want to find out because it looks nice. It's gorgeous, isn't it?
I love the colour. Yeah. It's just a Ginetta.
I'll find out because that is a gorgeous car. It's my favourite car I've seen today.
Ready your eardrums. And that is it for today at the Historic Masters Festival here at Brands Hatch. It's been a very lucid day. We've had some sun, we've had a little bit of rain, but on the whole, beautiful clear skies, and that's actually made the biggest difference here at Brands. Jake, what were your highlights for today?
It was just great to be back at a racetrack. It's lovely to be back at Brands. Actually, it's the first time I've walked to other sections of the track. I think it's one of the really great circuits to come to. You don't have to be in a grandstand. As general viewing, you get great views, cars doing all sorts of in all sorts of different conditions. It was the F1 demo for me. I love seeing that Benetton. That was awesome. The Masters Historic, the actual F1 race was decent as well. I just wish it was longer than 25 minutes. I wanted more, but it was really good.
Keith, you, Alex?
First of all, I've got to mirror the fact that Brands Hatch, even if you don't have a grandstand ticket, fantastic venue to come to, clear views all around the track. I've got to mirror Jake's sentiment. I loved seeing the demo. Shame to not see the Leighton there, but I thought the arrows making me eat my words more than made up for it.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was. And yeah, same with me, with Jake. Like, I've been here about 3 times, and I've never been around the other side of the circuit. It's actually really beautiful. So if you do come to Brands, definitely do have a wander. It's got a lot more to offer than just the grandstands. In terms of highlights, the classic F1, seeing the Porsche GT2 RS. So I've never seen one like that before. I'm sorry, but it's like
That wasn't part of the event, by the way.
I know,
that was just someone's random.
it was someone's random car, but still, I've never seen one before, so that was a highlight. And yeah, so that's it from us at Brands Hatch at the Historic Masters Festival. Please do follow us on Twitter at Globe Breaks F1. Follow us on our podcast as well. And if this goes up online, please give a like, please give us a subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks a lot.
Take care, bye guys. Porsche GT2 RS, over 700 horsepower. This is one of the most powerful production Porsches ever made. Like, look at those carbon ceramic brakes, absolutely gorgeous. Carbon fiber just everywhere. That front splitter with those massive intakes. See the radiator behind. GT2 RS, carbon fiber on the hood. Carbon fiber on the cooling there as well. And just this beautiful, beautiful carbon fiber on the rear here. Same Porsche on the wing as well. And interior. Such a pretty car. It's a Celica, boys and girls.
That's a Vauxhall Corsa.
Yeah.
Behind it.
In a minute.
Who cares about you? Go away. Yes, look at it. Oh, this is the best day. I never knew. I never thought I'd get to see another Celica. Lockdown's been hard on me.
That's a GT4 as well, isn't it?
Yeah, GT4.
With
it's one of the first models. There's 1994 one. I wonder if it's it looks like a UK model.
And that looks like a BMW M2 behind it as well, right?
Yeah, no one cares about that. Celica.
Mate, M2's are good. Oh.
Rev it. And it's got OZ Chronos, the best wheels to put on it.
3, 2, 1.
Right at this mission.